we're live.
Episode 11!
11, day one. Day one of Hate Week. We'll get into that in case you've all been listening to the previous episodes. You know what we're talking about when we say day one of Hate Week. That is Tennessee versus Georgia.
Your name
Just
is
going to go ahead and go into it right there off the bat. So it's day one of Hate Week. Tennessee does play Georgia this coming weekend. Today is 11/12/2023. If you're listening to this, that means it's 6 a.m. on Monday morning. So good morning to you beautiful people. Hope you're having a wonderful Monday morning. If you're listening to us on your ride to work, be safe, be careful. We do appreciate that listen and view. If you're watching live, you can see Mr. Hess there in all of his Georgia gear, rightfully so. Myself am not wearing any Tennessee stuff. I have it all behind me. We'll get into why I'm not here in just a little while into the pod. But if you're tuning in for the first time, appreciate you checking us out. If you haven't listened to us before, again, this is episode 11. Go back and watch those previous 10 episodes. We go over a lot of sports. Myself, am Tyler Castle, my co-partner, brother. Tyler Hess is on the other side of the mic. This is Tyler's Talking Sports. What we do here is we talk about sports. Anything and everything that you want to know about sports. You can follow us on our social media pages. That's Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all major streaming platforms. We are on them. We're on YouTube. So just make sure you give us a follow, like, comment. Reach out to us on email as well. We also have an email. You can send us some of your comments, suggestions, feedback, anything that you want to hear on the pod. If you're an avid listener to us, just send us that suggestion.
Absolutely, man. You nailed it on the head there. It's Hate Week, day one. We'll get more into that. I don't know why you don't got your Vols gear on, but it's kind of questionable. We'll figure that out, I guess. Like you said, I am Tyler Hess. We do talk sports here at Tyler's Talking Sports. I run the social medias as far as everything we got, our TikToks, our Facebook, our Instagram. We had one big post that's blowed up so far. Well, a couple posts that's blowed up. We had one that we talked about. Unfortunately, it was the one about the UVA player got injured, but it's reached over 42,000 people with shares and stuff like that. So we appreciate all the traffic we've been getting on our page. It's been good to see. Just hopefully that's the start of some other big things for our social media and this podcast.
Yeah, every little bit helps. I mean, even on the small shares right there. I mean, when you sent me those statistics today, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, that's why, guys, we say to share it. Like, even if it's you share it to your page, anything you see, if you don't care, share it, like it, just to get it out there. Because if somebody on your page just engages with it, it helps us out. It helps us up a level on our Facebook and stuff like that. So we do appreciate that.
Algorithms, yes, sir.
Algorithm.
Yeah, it does definitely help. Again, tough that it's that post that actually did so well. But it is good to know that, people are looking into what happened to the UVA players, so they're keeping up to date with that too. So that's definitely good. But let's get into the pod, man. First, I want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors for this podcast. If you all have been listening in the past, you know who I'm getting ready to shout out, and that is Next Level Fitness Club in Lebanon, Virginia, at 1806 East Main Street. Again, Lebanon, Virginia 24266. Reach out to those guys. It's a 24/7 gym facility, 24/7 tanning. They also have certified personal trainers and certified classes as well. The only thing they don't have is showers. Just going to shout that out right now. But they would love to have you. Check them out on their website at nextlevelfitnessclub276.com, Facebook and Instagram, as well at Next Level Fitness Club in Lebanon, Virginia. So shout out to those guys. I know they'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, Ben. Nice merch, by the way. Way to be wearing the merch. I like it. I like it. So, man,
I have a lot of it.
So how's your weekend been so far? I mean, I know other than some
it's been great.
Yeah, okay.
No. We're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
No, it's been great. Took my son and my wife to the aquarium in the Smoky Mountains of Gatlinburg, Tennessee. So that was really nice.
Was that her early birthday gift?
That was. Yes, her birthday is actually this week.
It's the
16th. So we'll have one more pod before then. So I'll wish her a happy birthday on the next one.
Yeah.
So we'll get into that. Definitely want to wish the wife. She'll be 30. I know I'm not supposed to say her age, but dirty 30.
It's a good age.
Dirty, 30, and flirty.
Oh, she's flirty?
Yeah, with her husband. Me.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So shout out to you, babe. Happy birthday, even though it's not there yet. I know you'll be listening to this in the morning as well when you're getting ready. So appreciate that. Appreciate that listen. But yeah, it was good. Hudson got to see a shark. Actually quite a few sharks. If you haven't been, it's really cool.
This
is
the Ripley's Aquarium in Gatlinburg?
Correct. Ripley's Aquarium, Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Nice.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it was nice. And then we went stopped by the local goat in Pigeon Forge.
I love the local
Also,
goat.
great restaurant. Yes, I recommend the Farmhouse Burger.
Good one.
It's
Cage free.
delicious. Cage free. Yeah, cage free egg, man. Gotta have it. Shout out to Chili's for never bringing that burger back. Am I right?
Right. It's a one-time thing.
In case y'all didn't know, Chili's used to have a Farmhouse Burger, and it was absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
And it didn't last long.
Didn't last long
So
at
it must
all.
have not been that good.
I don't know. Maybe we was really hungry that day. I don't know.
Not cage free.
But yeah,
That's the problem.
that's what it was.
But yeah, how was your Saturday?
It was good. Me and Krista went to a wedding. It's me and Braxton here all day. Got to hang out. Guys' day, watch some football, did some stuff around the house. Saturday was pretty laid back. Today I actually did some stuff in the yard, did some stuff on the house. Then Braxton had 2 basketball games this evening. Won both of those.
Stud.
Yeah, he went off in the second game. Don't really know what got into him there, but he went off in that game. The second game, won that game pretty good. Now here we are, man. It's weekend's about over. Work week starts tomorrow, unfortunately, but hey, it is what it is. I'm ready to get this pod going now.
Having some beautiful weather too.
Yeah,
so that's been really nice. It's 60 degrees today and beautiful. Don't expect that normally for we're second week in November, so
Down to 46 already. It's got chilly out there.
yeah, it's nice though. Went for a nice little jog outside. It's nice, felt good. Yeah, so man, let's get into the pod. We kind of briefly touched on it in introduction there, but this week, as we mentioned, is Hate Week. Again, that's between UGA and Tennessee. Hess, of course, is a huge Georgia fan. That's not
Go
just in
Dogs.
football, folks. That's basketball, baseball, cheerleading, soccer, women's hockey.
Hey,
you name it, whatever they have.
Women's soccer, SEC champs, and beat Liberty this weekend.
Okay, whoa. I think Tennessee won rugby a couple weeks back. I'm just going to shout that out. Yeah, something like that. I don't know. Anyway, I'm a Tennessee fan. Truly, football, baseball, basketball is my top 3. Of course, I try to keep up with them as much as possible. But anyway, that's how we kind of come about the Hate Week. Again, if you don't know, this week, Hess and I are fortunate enough to get to go to the UGA and Tennessee game, thanks to Caleb Johnson. Shout out to you, brother. Appreciate it. So he did land us some seats. So we'll be there on this coming Saturday. I believe that is the 18th.
Third Saturday in October.
Third Saturday in November.
November. Sorry.
Third Saturday in October is Alabama and Tennessee.
Yeah.
But it's okay. It's okay. Switch months. Yeah. But anyway, what is Hate Week? And what's it about? And what are we going to do on this podcast? It will be
talk
daily
crap about each other. That's what we're going to do.
Crap about the teams.
Yeah, but the balls. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. About Georgia.
About the
Yeah,
balls.
but it's daily uploads. It will be between, of course, the rivalry between the both teams. A little bit of history maybe involved. It's definitely going to have to be some history for me because I have nothing these past few years as a Tennessee fan to brag about or boast about against Georgia. So definitely going to be just some history for me and maybe some jabs at the fan base. Of course, it's all going to be fun shenanigans. So be on the lookout. Like I said, if you follow us on Instagram and Facebook, I'm sure we'll have some clips uploaded throughout the week. It might be both of us talking, might be just Hess, might be just myself, and then we'll upload them onto our page to be able to look out to that. And then we're also going to go into some X factors throughout the week, why we think our team will win, what's going to be the key players to our teams to help them advance to the next round, the week after. So we'll see what happens. Looking forward to that one. That one's going to be some fun stuff.
It is. It's going to be fun. We're going to, at the 3:30 kick, we're going to try to get there. We're trying to leave about 7 up here, be down there probably around 9, 10 o'clock or 10 o'clock, something like that, 9:30, 10 o'clock. SEC Network's going to be down there. We're going to try to get part of that. We do plan on interviewing some students, there's some fans, whoever down there, to get their opinion of the game, what they're thinking. The drunker they are, probably the better it's going to be.
Yes.
If there's an opportunity that we get that we get close to a player enough to maybe get like one or two words out of them, we're going to try.
Maybe.
But it's going to be fun. We're going to, like I said, we're going to go live down there a couple times while we're down there, and pretty excited about it. Again, shout out to Caleb Johnson for getting us these tickets. Huge. Didn't expect to be able to go to this game.
Tickets have came down. Prices have came down.
I'm sure they have. But, I mean, I know we're going to get into it a little bit more, but it is the Vols and Neyland, so there is hope there for Vols Nation, and I'm excited about it, man. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a real fun trip.
It's going to be fun regardless.
Yep.
We're going to make it fun. Like I said, probably going to be down there about about 9:30, 10 a.m. somewhere in that ballpark. We are going to do some lives probably on the. I think we're recording actually. You said at the start of the day.
Yeah.
And kind of recording throughout the entire day, and then we'll have a video uploaded on probably YouTube, if I'm assuming, or probably all of our social medias, that we can get it uploaded, and then of course we'll do intermittent clips as well throughout the day and stuff, and get those uploaded. But definitely looking forward to trying to interview some fans. We got some questions that we're going to have to go over this week. So send us some questions. What do you think we should ask fans that are attending the UGA and Tennessee game? Shoot them over to us. Tell us what you think we should ask. Of course, try to keep it appropriate. You can have a little bit of raunchy questions in there too if you want.
Right.
We might do it. You never know with Hess and I. So we're together, and Caleb will be there too, hyping us up. So Caleb's also going to be included on these clips and everything too. So hopefully y'all enjoy that. Special guest, Caleb Johnson. So we'll have him there too. And then of course we'll do a recap after the game. And then of course the ride back. If Tennessee loses by 50, I probably won't be around. I'll probably be in the car just crying and sobbing. So,
my main goal when I get down there for me personally is just to interview Butch Jones. That's what I'm excited about doing when I get down there. Hopefully I get to meet him at the local McDonald's or Chick-fil-A or wherever down there. And
it'll probably be at one of the houses or something, putting bricks up, brick by brick.
I would like to see that. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
Or Tim Tebow.
Thanks.
I'd like to see him too.
Now, Tim Tebow will be there, so that would be nice to just see Tim Tebow.
Yeah,
just yell out, I read your books.
I read your
books.
Go Broncos.
Go Broncos. Love it. But yeah, guys, stay tuned. Again, it's going to be an awesome week.
It is. It's going to be absolutely
for
fantastic.
Hess and I, and big game. Honestly, I know it doesn't seem as big as it was hyped up to be before this past Saturday, but you never know. It's always fun to watch Georgia and Tennessee.
Yep. It's going to be a good one. I'm excited about it. All right, man, we'll go into some little bit of history of the Vols in Georgia? Or?
Yeah, I'll let you kick that segment off for some history.
As far as the series record between the two teams, it's actually really relatively close. Georgia leads at 27-23 and two ties. Georgia, honestly, most of those wins came in these last couple of years. It's actually a lot closer than that these last couple of years. Tennessee been through some rough stuff. Hey, they did get the Hail Mary game.
Turn it around.
And Josh Dobbs doing some things.
2016.
We're going to talk about Josh Dobbs a little bit here in a little while, too.
Yes, sir.
But Tennessee and Georgia and Tennessee are second and third as winningest programs in the SEC, behind, of course, Alabama.
I did not know that, honestly.
Yeah.
Before we started doing some research, I didn't realize that they were back-to-back like that.
Yep. And then games in odd number years are played in Knoxville, and the even number years are played in Athens. It works out that way. That's just how it kind of started about. From 1899 to 1989, UT and UGA only met 21 times before the Southeastern Conference expanded. So that's pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty wild.
That is wild.
90 years, only met 21 times. And now
they're that close,
consistent.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, now we've met like 60 times, it feels like. So.
And they've been some, as a Georgia fan, I think back to, every time I think Tennessee, I don't even think about the wins that Georgia got. I think about when Nick Chubb was there, tearing his ACL against you all. And then it was a couple of years. Todd Gurley, same thing. Y'all just kill our running backs. It was just, I go back to those days all the time. I don't even think about the Hail Mary game with Josh Dobbs. Talk about recent history.
I do.
I mean, I know you ask Krista. She's got a really good story about the Hail Mary game. She kind of didn't make it through it because she was kind of college days, a little bit intoxicated possibly. So, but she woke up and the Hail Mary was in the air, and she seen the whole catch and lost her crap on it. But yeah,
it's
gonna be fun though. I really think it's gonna be an absolutely great game, and I'm excited about it. It's just another chapter in the book of Tennessee and Georgia.
Yeah, you talk about the 2016 there. I was actually on our way. Danielle and I just started dating, actually, not too long into dating, and we was heading to Logan's actually in Bristol to eat.
Shout out Logan's.
And I remember Georgia led the drive down, took the lead with 20 seconds left. I don't even remember how much time. It wasn't much time left on the clock.
Yeah.
Well, I cut it off. I cut the radio off. I was like, this is, I was pissed because obviously we just had a chance and we blew it. And then I was like, well, I'm going to turn it back on and just, see what happens. It is Josh Dobbs. And I remember being in the car listening. I was listening on the radio because at the time I didn't have YouTube TV. Shout out to YouTube TV for being on mobile devices nowadays. But Yeah, I remember listening, and then 4 seconds left, and Dobbs heaves it in the air, and you listen to the announcer, and you're just waiting, what happens, and then we know what happens. He caught the ball, game over.
Who caught the ball?
Best. Oh my God, what's his face?
Oh my God,
Juan Jennings. There we go.
Juwan Jennings.
Took me a second. 49ers. But yeah, it took me a second to think of his name. It's been so long,
And that was in Georgia too.
That's 7 years ago, man.
Mm-hmm. It was in Georgia, between the hedges.
Yep, it was in Athens. Yep. Incredible. That was Butch Jones' highlight of his coaching.
Good job, Butch.
I mean, you think about that team. Not trying to get off topic. We'll get back into our pod here, but that team finished 8-4, I think it was.
That team could have been so much better with better
coaching.
That
team could have been national championship contender if you had the right coach.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, I agree.
But that'll never happen.
I mean, you think about it. You had the Pasternaut as your quarterback, and I mean,
God, Josh Dobbs, Alvin Kamara, Jalen Hurd, Juan Jennings. I mean, they were loaded.
Yep,
loaded.
But hey, we're going to get more into all this stuff throughout the week. We don't want to give it all out in one episode. It's going to be a fun week. But hey, are you ready to recap this college football week we had, week 10?
Week 10, man. It was some good football this weekend.
Very interesting. Some interesting football. But before we get to the game, let's talk about the ongoing saga, I'm going to call it, at the University of Michigan. Man, this thing has just, every day, something crazy happens out of this whole thing.
Yeah, it's just like in the last pod we was talking, if you go back and listen, folks, to the last podcast, Hess and I, do give, or we weigh in on our thoughts on Harbaugh, what we think should happen and everything. We both think it was minuscule. It's obvious that he didn't really know what was happening. It sounds like from the way everybody's talking even more since then, it was just benefiting that recruiter, that guy. It was just Connor Stalions, who also resigned on the Friday. He was suspended with pay, but I think that's X now too. So we talked about that in the last pod, and now it's turned into that Harbaugh can only coach during the week and can't coach on the actual game day from the sidelines.
He wasn't even at Penn State, even though he's not even allowed on the sideline, he wasn't even at Penn State. So, and let me tell you what I thought was really janky about that whole thing. They make that ruling knowing that Michigan could counter with a
lawsuit.
What was
a temporary restraining order.
Yeah, temporary restraining. Thank you. A TOR. And TRO. Thank you. Got dyslexic there, but yeah. And they do it on a a holiday weekend, knowing that there's no court or judge or anybody that's going to be there on a weekend. And it was crazy. I was watching Game Day that morning, and there was a countdown okay, this game's at 12 o'clock. The judge may hear the ruling by 10. Harbaugh may be able to coach. They were trying to figure out how are we going to get Harbaugh to Penn State? Where's he at? So, I mean, at that morning, the Michigan team, the players didn't even know they were going to have Harbaugh on the sideline. And then the coach Shireen Moore, he coached that game. Apparently, he's a big-time expecting him to actually leave Michigan at the end of the year and go head coach somewhere. He's a highly touted coach. But
they coached a good game.
He did, but I really think I agree with what Pat McAfee said during Game Day. They were doing Penn State was doing that.
They scored.
But I think all this did was fuel that Michigan team. It pissed them off. The players,
you're right.
JJ McCarthy, all of them came out with the Michigan versus everybody shirts and beanies on. I don't think Harbaugh should have been suspended. I don't really agree with it because from what they're saying now, like you said, it's like Connor Stalions was doing it not to benefit Michigan, but to benefit other teams and help them out. Just so happens some of it did help Michigan, but he was apparently selling this stuff to whoever needed the signs. That's why he was going to all these games.
His own gain, yes.
So I don't really know. I mean, maybe a half suspend Harbaugh, or fine, but I mean.
Maybe one game at the max. It's that's even too much in my opinion. I did read too that the NCAA is not expected to conclude this investigation in Michigan until 2024.
Yeah.
So this will be ongoing for quite some time. We know how the court systems work.
Yeah.
But even with college football, this is the biggest drama news that we've had this year.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to drag it on as long as they can to see what happens. But I'm with you. I think it's crap. Just let's flush this down the toilet. Because that's what it is. So
I mean, I think we may talk about it later on. We might touch base on it. let's drop this whole thing. Okay, let's move on from this. Connor Stallions is left. We get it. Whatever. How about the NCAA focus on getting JMU eligible so they can actually compete with a really good team? They're probably one of the top 15 teams in the country, and they ain't getting no credit for anything because the NCAA won't rule on their appeal that they gave a week ago. But we can suspend Harbaugh on this whole thing. So
yeah,
I think the NCAA needs to get the priorities straight.
Yeah, I mean, I stand with Michigan. You know, they're doing the right thing. I think this definitely motivates the players. Like you said, they have a little bit of chip on their shoulder now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see Michigan. We're getting ready to talk about Michigan in the next upcoming segment. But yeah, I think this gives them an edge. It gives them something to compete for, not only just to win the game, but now they're fighting for their coach. You get a team pissed off, you know how it is. I mean, when people are bashing your coach and you love your coach, I mean, you got something to prove. It's a little bit, you know, interior inside you.
Well, just like Kirby Smart, they asked him. It's kind of not on this subject, but they asked him. It was like, "Hey, how do y'all feel about being number 2 team in the playoffs?" And Kirby's like, "I haven't looked at the playoff rankings. We don't care. We just know we got to be in the top 4. It doesn't matter where we're at." And he goes, "All we've heard all year is Georgia plays nobody. The SEC's down. This, and this." And he goes, all that has done is motivate us. He goes, this is the most motivated team I've ever had. Stuff like this does nothing but motivate a team. And if I'm Ohio State, if I'm Ryan Day and them, I just shut my mouth and don't start anything because Michigan, like I know we're going to talk about this game. Penn State wore this into the ground. They even made a clip before the game. Hey, guys, come out. Be sure to steal as many signs as you can and be as loud as you can during the game.
Yeah.
Backfired on them. Nope. But, I mean, Let's dive into the Michigan-Penn State game. Really thought this game would be better.
Oh, yeah.
But it actually played out the way I kind of thought it was going to. The biggest shocking thing for me in this game was the fact that Michigan didn't throw a single pass in the second half. They did nothing but run the ball.
It's like I texted you. I said there is no passing in this game. Michigan now 10-0. So they advanced to 10-0. Penn State falls to 8-2. Michigan won this game, folks, 24-15. In case you didn't get to watch it, just a little bit of recap. Again, no passing. McCarthy was 7 for 8. You read that right. 7 for 8 for 60 yards.
All in the first half.
And Drew Lahr was 10 for 22 for 70 yards.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, so Karum, is that his name? Karam, okay.
Yep.
Karam from Michigan, he's the running back, had 145 yards on 26 carries.
Did you see that picture of him, the viral picture after the game, where his helmet came down and busted to the top of his nose here, and it had blood running down, so it looked like blood was running down his face?
Oh, wow.
If you ain't seen that picture, it's actually like, that dude's pretty tough.
Check that out.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Well, he's obviously pretty tough. He ran for 145 yards on 26 carries. So
he's a good running back.
Feed the guy, man.
Yeah.
We knew this going into this. Me and you both said it would be a big defensive game. I think they came in as overall defenses 1 and 2 in the nation. Michigan, of course, being number 1. Penn State being number 2. Only 287 total yards for Michigan. 238 from Penn State. Penn State struggled throughout most of the year with these big games with Ohio State and Michigan on their offense. The offense just goes stagnant. They're just super good defensive team, but the offense just isn't there. Penn State now falls to 4-16 against Michigan and Ohio State under James Franklin. So if you're Penn State, are you satisfied?
Absolutely not. I'm a Penn State fan, Nittany Lions fan. I'm kind of looking at this situation as if I'm a Texas A&M fan. So I mean, if I'm not happy. James Franklin, we brought him in. We gave him all this money to come in and actually compete for Big Ten championships, to be the guy outside of Michigan and Ohio State to do something in this conference. And right now, it looks like it's a Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa conference. You don't hear about Penn State. Like, I'm not happy. This offense is abysmal. The defense is great. Don't get me wrong. The defense is great, but I didn't bring James Franklin in here for a good defense. This is Big Ten football. We're going to have a good defense. I brought him in here for an offense, and I can't remember how many years he's been there, but he's been there well long enough to have his system in there, to have his players, his coaches, his recruits that he wants. And if I'm a Nittany Lions Penn State fan, I'm questioning if this is the right guy for this job. And
I agree. I mean, they have the funding, the crowd, the stadium.
Great place to play. I mean, they should be doing a lot better than what they are.
I mean, it's mediocrity at this time. I mean, because if you can't beat, it's kind of like how I feel as a Tennessee fan because we can't beat Bama and Georgia.
Yeah.
So it's almost I feel it, especially these past couple of years. You know, we've actually had a chance. And Penn State, I think, had a chance in this game.
Well, I mean, if you look back in Penn State, they've been in some Rose Bowls over the last couple of years. They've made some. I mean, they're a top 10 team, but it's like
Franklin's a great coach. I'm not trying to bag on that. I'm just saying, at a certain point, what point do you be like, okay, let's try somebody else?
Yeah,
because it's 4-16 against your two biggest opponents. So what are you going to do? And everybody's like, well, it's Michigan, Ohio State. So what are you supposed to do?
I get that, but I mean, you bring him in there to win the games you're supposed to win, but you bring him in there so he beats Michigan and Ohio State. Not saying he beats them every year. I don't think that's the expectation up there.
At least try to get it to 50-50.
I mean, at least show some competitive. I mean, you don't beat the two teams that you're supposed to be beating. We brought you in here to beat those teams. At least
get one of them.
Yeah, I mean, at least they used to do that. I mean, there have been times. I mean, back when they had Barkley back there. Yep. I mean, and what was the quarterback? What was his name? Plays in the NFL now. I'll think about it in a minute. But, like, it just – I don't know. This year for Penn State has just been terrible. Like,
they have no offense.
No offense at all. And that's just not Penn State football. Like, they usually have a decent defense, but this offense is terrible. Like, I watched that game, and, I mean, they were running literally the easiest plays, and it was terrible to see.
Yeah, poor Penn State. So I think that's a question at the end of the season you have to ask, you know, how much longer do we keep James Franklin? Obviously, I don't think Penn State's going to do anything. I think he's still under contract, too, for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he is, too.
So, yeah, great coach, but you gotta start splitting these games at some point. I mean, you can't keep going. 4-16 is absolutely horrid. Yeah. So, yeah, Michigan has Maryland and Ohio State left on their schedule. Mr. Hess, does Michigan finish 12-0?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they beat Ohio State.
I'm
not going to sleep on Maryland either.
I'm not
Maryland's
either.
Had Ohio State nervous. I don't know if this game's at home or away. I'd have to look that up, but that's this coming weekend.
I want to throw this out there before we go on after this game about Penn State. It was Trace McSorley, who's who I was trying to talk about there. They also had Sean Clifford at quarterback. He was actually pretty good.
Sean Clifford. Yeah,
his backup at that time was Will Levis. Before he transferred to Kentucky. I mean, they've had good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And they've had the talent there on offense. Like, they recruited it. And it's just not showing up on the field this year. I don't understand why. But to answer your question about Michigan, their defense is elite. They're very, very disciplined on defense. Their offense, though, is actually in question. Do they go 12-0 because they play in the Big Ten? Yes. Do they do anything when they get to the playoffs? If they play outside the Big Ten, absolutely not. They play anybody out of the ACC, the SEC, the Pac-12, the Big 12. Michigan doesn't win a game. They don't have an offense to score to compete with these other teams.
Yeah, I think if Michigan or Ohio State, whoever makes it to the championship game, in that conference, they're going to be facing Iowa. So I look for them to win that conference. Whoever wins on the East side. And
speaking of Iowa, I was saying today it's the first time ever in college football history. The spread or the over-under for their next 3 games or 2 games or 3 is 21.5 and under.
Oh, wow.
Like, it's the lowest over-under in NCAA history. And their defense, I almost wonder if Iowa's defense is maybe the best defense. Like Nolan Smith was talking on game day. He said he picked Iowa to win their game this weekend. And he said his opinion is Iowa's defense is just as good, if not better, than the University of Georgia's defense. He said their front four is absolutely dominant. And he says that team, if they had an offense, they'd be national championships. That's what he said about Iowa. So,
I think their defense is good, but saying they're as good as Georgia is bold.
But it's a lot coming from Nolan Smith.
Georgia playing SEC. I know SEC's down, but they're not really.
I thought that was a lot coming from Georgia's one of the greatest defensive players.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow.
Oh, yeah.
And then Iowa goes out and wins 25-0 this week. So
yeah, we got Iowa on here. We'll get into Iowa a little bit, go over some stats there. Stout defense. But yeah, let's get into the next game. Let's go into ACC. Miami and Florida State. This game was a lot closer than I projected. I figured Florida State would pull away. I mean, it was 27-20.
A lot closer
it was close all the way through. It was 10-10 at half. And apologies on Thursday podcast. I read that Van Dyke was going to start.
They gave him the nod, but they went with Emory Williams, the freshman.
They went over. That's surprising. I figured for sure they go with Van Dyke. He's got a little bit more experience on the year. I know he's coming off an injury, so that might be kind of where they're leaning.
From what I heard during the game, it was more so Emory they brought him in as a freshman. He was a top-touted freshman. They were wanting to see what he could do in a big game. And, I mean, he didn't play good, but I'm telling you, dude, I was watching that game because I was watching the Vols game, and then I turned over to this one. That kid was laying it all out there on the line. And when he broke his arm, when he snapped that thing in half, my heart hurt for him because he was giving Miami everything he could. Like, that was – honestly, I would love for him to be the quarterback at the University of Georgia or any team. If there's any team out there that needed a quarterback, that's the guy because he was out there putting it all out there on the line. He ran that ball and then was doing everything. I mean, strung it out. Like, just – he knew he was going to get killed, and he played great. He was matching Jordan Travis's energy. He was playing with heart. He was keeping Miami in that game, and then Van Dyke comes in the game and goes 2 for 7 and throws a pick to end the game.
Yeah. I'm still kind of surprised that obviously the coaches see something there. You said he is a freshman, which is pretty impressive. He did have a rough game, 8 for 23, 175 yards, 2 touchdowns.
If I'm not mistaken, he was the number 2 or number 3 quarterback out of this last year's class.
Yeah, I keep getting him and Emory Jones confused.
Yeah,
Emory Jones from Florida.
Yeah,
but yeah, Emory Williams for Miami. I think he's good. I think the future for Miami is definitely bright. They got some good recruits on that team. Just got to put it together. They could be, instead of 6-4, they could be 7-3 if they nailed the football. Just want to throw that out there. But Jordan Travis, you was talking about him just a minute ago. He's also one of the Heisman candidates for this year. Another solid game for Jordan. He went 19 for 31, 265 yards, and 1 touchdown. Somebody I haven't talked about on this pod, Jacoby George. Wide receiver for Miami, absolutely went off. 5 receptions for 153 yards and 2 touchdowns. So shout out to Miami for putting up a good fight against Florida State. This was a must-win game for Florida State if they want to have a chance still with the ACC championship. It looks like it's going to be Florida State and Louisville in the ACC is what we're shaping up to. This game, though, was pretty even all the way around. Florida State had 322 total yards, Miami 335. So Miami did outgain Florida State on offense, which is pretty crazy. Both pass heavy in this one. Not a ton of running.
No, not a ton of running at all.
Which Miami's, I think, top 5 in rush defense still in the league.
Yeah.
So that's probably why. But Florida State remaining schedule. They got a big tough one this coming weekend. North Alabama, not South.
North Alabama.
Not East, not West. North Alabama.
That's the Panthers.
I don't even know. I think you're right. But North Alabama, and then they finish off the season with in-state rival, of course, Florida. Does FSU finish 12-0? I think Florida can give them a run.
I think they do finish 12-0. I agree with you. Florida's going to give them a run because Florida made that LSU game a lot closer than it should have been at first. They kind of took their foot off the gas in that game, but Florida State's getting healthy. They got both their wide receivers back this week. Jordan Travis is still playing out of his mind. That defense is elite.
It's good. It's a good team.
The only way they don't is if Florida State beats themselves, in my opinion.
I agree.
And while we're on the Florida State topic, I want to kind of throw this out there. What does the committee do? Let's say Florida State finishes 12-0. Okay. Alabama finishes
11-1.
Makes it an SEC title game. Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC title game.
Okay.
Texas wins out, revenges the loss to Oklahoma. Oregon runs the table, wins out, beats Washington, revenges the loss to Oklahoma or to Washington.
To Washington, yeah.
Who's the odd team out? It would have to be.
Tough.
It would have to be the undefeated Florida State team because of their conference, their lack of conference play.
Yeah, you're going to see 2 SEC.
You would see
Georgia and Alabama make it.
Because Michigan, Ohio State are going to eliminate.
Georgia has to finish undefeated, which they should. So it'll be 12-0, and then you said they lost to Bama, so 12-1, 12-1. Oregon be 12-1, 12-1. It's tough.
See,
you got Ohio State
they eliminate each other. Michigan, Ohio State eliminate each other. So one of them's gone.
One of those is what I'm getting at.
You got Georgia You can't take
It'd be-
Georgia out if they're only
Be
lost.
Georgia, Bama, Oregon, Ohio State, or Michigan.
So the undefeated Florida State team doesn't make the college football playoff. That is the absolute worst case scenario for the committee.
Yeah, because Florida State, they beat LSU, right? Start of the season.
Yep.
They just beat Miami, solid team.
And then if they beat
Duke when Duke was ranked.
And they beat Louisville in this game. Louisville's gonna be a top 10 team when they play them.
Yeah, it's hard to just rule them out. So that's gonna be tough for the committee. That's
So
yeah, gosh, good thing I'm not on the committee.
I mean,
we'll have some pissed off fan bases.
This is what your decision is going to come down to. It's like, all right, Georgia hasn't lost all year. They lost a close game to Bama in an SEC title game. Okay, they lose there. It's their first loss since 2021 to Alabama. So you ain't taking them out. You're going to drop them probably to 4. All right, who's going to take that third spot? You got Alabama, who's probably sitting at 5th or 6th at this time. Oregon, who's sitting at 5th or 6th at this time. Florida State sitting at 4, undefeated.
Texas
is sitting there. So you see, you're taking Florida State. They're undefeated, and they're going to win out, and they're going to do what they have to do to stay at number 4. But then you're going to boot them out because Georgia loses.
I don't know.
That's wild.
I really don't.
I mean, because you can't keep Georgia out of it.
Can they?
I don't know. What do you do? I expand it. I go ahead and say 6 teams, and let's go.
6 is like the minimum is what they should do. So I'm really looking forward to next year 12-team playoff. That's the way it should be for a long time.
I agree.
It's honestly more fair, and it gives you a better chance to see how good your team really is.
Honestly, I think they should just take the whole format that the FCS takes. They take it's a 24-team playoff. You have two sides of the bracket. You have an East and a West, 12 and 12, and they work their way in. They play at each other's fields. Yeah. Why can you not do that?
That wouldn't be bad.
Because of money.
Yeah, I do like the 12-team playoff, though. It's going to be a lot better.
I mean, you don't have this. You won't have this.
You won't have this discussion.
Right.
And then you could truly have true bragging rights.
Because that's really going to suck if an undefeated team from a Power 5 conference gets knocked out because...
Imagine being a Florida State fan. Your team wins every game, even the championship, and you still don't make it to the Natty. Or, to chance to make it to Natty.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I'd be livid.
Yeah.
It'd be like Tennessee first time, 30 years making it, and then be like, sorry.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I would cry.
Oh, it'd be...
Whew. Takes a lot to make a grown man cry, but that made me cry, baby.
Right. But speaking of Tennessee, good segue there, man. I hate to do it, but let's move on to the Missouri-Tennessee game.
I really just wanted to pass this segment up. I'm not even going to lie. Did not want to talk about this one, but we have to because we're not biased. Even when our favorite teams lose, we have to talk about it just a little bit. This one stings. This one hurts. We know how Tennessee is on the road this year. They've struggled. Ever since Heupel's been there, they've struggled on the road with SEC opponents within the top 25. Missouri won this one 36-7. Just a big blowout. Joe Milton with another solid game. It's not on him again. He's 22 for 34, 267 yards, 1 TD, 1 INT at the end there. Game was already over. Didn't really matter. Brady Cook, 18 for 24, 275 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. He was cooking. Cody Schrader is the reason this game unreal, man. 35 carries.
Yeah, talk about a high
35 carries. Yeah, 35 carries, 205 yards, rushing, and 116 yards receiving.
Mm-hmm.
He's the first Missouri player to ever have over 200 and 100 receiving yards. So that's impressive. Balls, really, where they lost this game is the rush game. They had no rush game in this game. 83 yards total. On the season, they was averaging 232, led the SEC in rushing. Jalen Wright didn't show out. I mean, Sampson, none of them showed up for that game.
Milton was your leading rusher.
Milton was the leading rusher. Milton should have ran the ball more. But honestly, when I was watching this game, because I was watching in the restaurant, I couldn't, get full emotional like I do at the house. But what turned in the momentum and shift was right before the half, Tennessee was driving really well. It was 7-10. Jalen Wright caught a ball right on the 20, a beautiful throw by Milton right in his hands, and he ends up fumbling. So he fumbled, get the ball right back to Missouri. Schrader cranks off for a 50-yard run, pretty much. It was like a 46-yard run. Then get him in field goal range, and then they go up by 6. That right there was crucial because Tennessee could have took the lead or at least tied it going into half. And I think we would have seen maybe a little bit closer game. It felt like that second half they came out and they were just like, hey, we lost. Like it did no heart. Typical Tennessee on the road. They quit on themselves. It's tough being a Tennessee fan right now because there's potential there. And this team is just all over the place. You don't know what you're going to get week in, week out. Like one week we're world beaters, we're good. Next week we're absolutely terrible, bottom of the barrel. So I don't know. This team's definitely not last year's. A little bit more undisciplined than last year. So.
Yeah.
But I think Tennessee should stop scheduling teams in November in Columbia. That is Columbia, South Carolina, and Columbia, Missouri. Because we do not win. Last year we lost to South Carolina 66-21.
Same time, what? Same time.
Same time, and then this year we get blown out 36-7 by Missouri. So quit scheduling Columbia teams in November if you're a Tennessee fan.
I mean, this game really shocked me. To me, I know you said the momentum, the whole second half there, or right before halftime thing, but to me was that first drive by Missouri. Y'all went 3 and out in your first drive. I think it was 3 and out, or maybe 6 and out.
We intercepted them.
Okay, but their second, that drive that went 11 minutes, that took the whole entire first quarter. Like, that got a team like Tennessee that runs that up tempo. They use each drive to continue a segment of plays and everything, and that just threw you all off. And then that was also the 4th consecutive sellout in Missouri history in football. That's the first time they've ever done that. The over-under in this game was 58.5, and Tennessee was a 2.5-point favorite coming into this game. And I don't understand it. The defense didn't look good. The defensive line wasn't – I mean, Missouri, we said it all year. There's been several episodes. I've said it. You've said it. That offensive line Missouri's got is really good. But that run, the offensive line, their run blocking was exceptional. And Schrader, dude, he just ran with so much heart. He did not want to go down. He went down. He got hit. He fell 3 or 4 yards forward every time.
Yeah. He dominated.
They just controlled it. I mean, like I know, I think you texted me, y'all never win time possession, which is right. But you don't. What Missouri did was they tried to do what people do to the Chiefs. They
keep the ball out of your hands.
They keep the ball out of your hands, and they did that, and it was a masterful coaching job on Tennessee's or on Missouri's side. Their head coach is one of 3 coaches in the SEC that never played college football. Do you know who the other 2 are?
Never played college football.
Mm-hmm. I can't remember who the 3rd one is, but the other one was Hugh Freeze.
Really? He didn't play?
Missouri's head coach, Hugh Freeze, and I want to say, God, was it Lane Kiffin?
Possibly.
It might have been. I can't remember who, but they showed
all 3 in the SEC. That's impressive.
Yeah. The 3 coaches in the SEC that never played college football, and it was Missouri's head coach, David Hinkle or Finkel or whatever his name is. Mm-hmm. Hugh Freeze was the one that stood out to me. I can't remember who the other one was. It might be Vandy's head coach. I can't remember. But
gotcha.
That's
wild.
I don't know. I don't know what it was.
Fun fact, too, I think Missouri was recruiting Josh Heupel at the same time they were recruiting this guy. So it's kind of, past 2 years, Tennessee's dominated Missouri. I think we beat them last year 66-14 or something. But this year, this is a different Missouri team. And I think next year, I don't know if we have Missouri on the schedule. I think it could go the opposite way again. But not trying to look too far ahead. But this was a blow because this game was huge for SEC East implications. Obviously, Georgia beat Ole Miss, so it wouldn't really mattered. But I'd like to win this game because that would have put us on trajectory probably for a 9-win season.
You will have Missouri again next year.
Okay, yeah. So looking forward to that one. That one will be at home. So
yeah,
it should be a much better game. But yeah, again, not trying to look too far ahead in the season as a typical Tennessee fan, as we always say. Balls next year. That's what we always say.
I wanted you to say it.
Yep. Yeah, I know you did. You big Georgia
fan.
Yeah,
well.
Yeah, it was rough. So all you Balls listeners, just hang in there, guys. It looks like we might get 8-4 this year is what we're looking at probably. Not great, not terrible, kind of mediocrity. But look what we got. To look forward to in the next year. Yep. So hang in there, guys. It's gonna be all right.
It will be. I mean,
one of these years, daggone it.
One of these days. One of these days.
I've been waiting 27 years, but one of these days we're gonna get them.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's move back to the boring Big Ten football.
Snooze fest.
Actually, this is the kind of football I like to watch. I love these defenses. I love defenses. It's just who I am. I love a defensive game. They're bloody. They're rough. They're tough. That's where the real men play on defense.
The real men.
That's right. But Iowa Rutgers. this game was not one to watch if you were looking for high scoring, big explosive plays. Even though Iowa did have a couple of big plays, but Iowa
in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, it was all fourth quarter game. It was 6-0 going into the fourth. Iowa.
2 field goals.
2 field goals. Iowa won 22-0, but they absolutely just they handled this game from the beginning of the game. Like Rutgers couldn't do nothing; they couldn't move the ball at all.
We predicted this one to be very low score. Both offenses are in the hundreds. I mean, they're terrible, but both defenses are top 20. So very very good defensive teams.
I always want to throw it out there. I mean, total yards for Rutgers in this game, they had 127 yards. They had 34 yards rushing. They had 93 yards passing.
That's insane.
Iowa broke some records up there at Iowa. They had 402 yards of total offense, 223 yards passing, 179 yards rushing, which is kind of surprising. Rutgers' defense is not bad at all. They're actually
Rutgers' defense top 20.
Yeah, Greg Schiano's done really well there. But it was at Iowa. Rutgers was a 2.5-point favorite in that game. And being a 2.5-point favorite this week on the road has not been good, especially if you're playing a team that's black and yellow.
Yeah.
And to tie it all in together, Schiano, we talked about it, was a potential head coaching candidate at Tennessee.
He was.
But
he actually had the job.
The over-under was 27.5, and they were under that because 22-0.
Hopefully you all bet, because Hess and I both projected that would be correct.
Yep. Deacon Hill, quarterback for Iowa, probably the best game he's had all year. He went 20 for 31 for 223 yards, 1 touchdown, and 1 interception. I'll be honest, this is the most horrendous stat line. This is terrible. Rutgers, quarterback, went 7 for 8. Gavin Wimsatt, he went 7 for 18 for 93 yards and an interception.
That's better than Drew Allar for Penn State.
Yeah. The leading rusher for Rutgers went 13 carries for 39 yards. They finished with 34 yards. They had one guy get -2. Leading receiver, though, had 3 receptions for 47 yards.
Yeah, boy.
Iowa,
absolutely boring.
Iowa in a driver's seat. They're going to be in the Pac-12 or the Big Ten championship. That defense.
They have Illinois and Nebraska coming up.
I think
it's kind of tough. Nebraska's actually not looked terrible.
Matt Rule's done pretty well lately. He's starting to turn around.
Turning it around finally. So, but I still think Iowa finishes 10-2. I think we'll see them top 15 when this is all said and done.
Which is crazy to think how bad that offense is.
Yeah, but I mean, defense wins games.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the NFL, we're seeing that. So, high school, I mean, it goes all the way up. Defense wins games. So, yeah, shout out to Iowa. Can't stand to watch them because I love a high-scoring offensive game. That's just my cup of tea. But, yeah.
Hey,
I think they're going to run it. Whoever they run into, Ohio State or Michigan, they're going to meet their maker. I think that's where it's going to show.
I'll be honest with you. I think if it's Iowa, Michigan, or Iowa, Ohio State, I think you see the same Penn State type game from both of those. Yeah. I think it's what you see, and then all that's going to take is Iowa to not make a mistake on offense and maybe catch a break. I don't know.
I'm saying at least 8.5, 9.5 point favorite.
We'll see.
As of right now,
we'll see
somewhere in there. Yeah, we'll see.
But there ain't much else to talk about on that game. Iowa,
pretty boring.
Yeah, but they sealed it though. I mean, I think they sealed their fate. Now they can make it to the Big Ten championship game. Hey,
should
call some chaos. Let's say Michigan, Ohio State, one of those teams eliminate the other, and then one of those lose to Iowa. Then more chaos. But anyway,
can't wait.
Let's move back to our favorite conference that we seem to talk about every freaking time we do a podcast, the West Coast. Which this game was on the West. No, was this in Utah? No, it was in Washington. It was in Washington. So, yes, we was on the West Coast here. Washington versus Utah. I'll let you start this off because I know how much you love
Penix, baby.
Michael
you know why
Penix.
We got Washington? Big Penix energy. It's what we say here on the pod. If you haven't listened to previous episodes, go back and listen to Big Penix energy. It's almost in every episode. Like Hess said, we're always talking about Washington. Washington now improves to 10-0.
10-0.
Not 10-0.
7-0 in conference.
Impressive. Very impressive. 35-28 win over Utah. It's a lot closer game than we thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Very close. Penix ended up going 24 for 42, 332 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Man.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Good job, Tennessee. Way to lose that recruit.
His deep ball is absolutely beautiful.
Oh, man. It's beautiful. Guys, if y'all have not watched a game or watched any footage of Michael Penix Jr., Please go watch it.
Oh.
That guy can spin the ball. I mean, it's incredible. He's left-handed too, which is even more awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Love watching left-handed quarterback. But yeah, this game was a lot closer than I thought. Washington defense started off really hot this year. I think they're definitely falling off pretty bad. So that's going to hurt them, I think, if they meet the Oregon Ducks again in the Pac-12 championship, which I think that's who they're going to face.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah, Washington did put this one away, though, in the third quarter. They scored 11 unanswered and held Utah to 0 points in the fourth as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, total yards for Washington, 457. Again, like I mentioned, I'm worried about their defense moving forward. And if I had to predict right now, I think Oregon has the edge in the Pac-12. I think Oregon is the best team in the Pac-12 at this time.
I agree with you. Oregon's hitting on all cylinders, but I will say, do we talk about Oregon? Do we talk about the USC-Oregon game? I don't think we do we? All right.
This week.
I was reading, I know, I don't know if we didn't mention it, but Jimbo Fisher got fired today, which, hey, good for him. $80 million in his pocket. With
$77 million.
Yeah.
Yes.
So good for him. Wow. And I was reading, we posted on our Facebook page, Texas A&M's already came out and said money's not an issue. They're looking at any coach that they can get, which means they're going to throw money at anybody. They're already talking about getting Lane Kiffin, but they're really already they're talking about getting Dan Lanning. They're really eyeing Dan Lanning, try to get him out of Oregon.
I think that's going to happen.
Oregon is moving to the Big Ten. Does Dan Lanning want to come back to the SEC where he's been born and raised and try to be that guy at A&M? They could throw anything.
He's got the resources.
You got that right. I mean, don't get me wrong. Oregon's got those resources too. But my main thing here, if let's say that rumor really starts churning, does this become a distraction? Does Dan Lanning let this get into the locker room? Does the players start wondering? I don't think he does, just by his mentality and who he is as a coach and being. He's very Kirby Smart like. He don't let outside noise bother him. But
no, Oregon's rolling right now.
They are.
Bo Nix is playing Heisman candidate as well.
But back,
very, very good.
Back to this game though, this Washington-Utah game. This game was so much closer than I thought it was going to be. I didn't see. I mean, at one point Utah was winning this game. They had a huge second quarter. They had 21 points in the second quarter. The third quarter, like you said, was the one that really shifted the tide. But in that fourth quarter, Utah, they shut down Washington, and they had some time there to make some plays and put it to actually tie this game up. Final score of that game was 35-28. Utah looked good. That defense proved to be what it is. I mean, yeah, they gave it some big plays, but in the fourth quarter they shut down. And usually by that time, that's when the defense tires out. And they showed up in that fourth quarter. Utah's no slouch. It's just they haven't been able to put the pieces together. It's like one game their offense is clicking, and the defense is a little off. Still a good team. They're sitting at 7-3, 4-3 overall in the conference. They're still a good team. Washington, like again, we said it time and time again. Good teams win games. Great teams find a way to win, and they're a great team, and they found a way to win this game. Michael Penix, he's taking him off of that Washington offense. I don't know if they're the same, and I know a lot of people right now are high on Bo Nix being the Heisman guy, but I mean Michael Penix to me,
it's tough. That's a close race. It's between them two, in my opinion.
I'm not the guy who sits here. I don't like how people say, well, the Heisman goes to the best player on the best team. I think it needs to go to the player who means the most to the best player that means the most to the team. And
with that team, could this team be that good?
Yeah, and I think Oregon's got the weaponry and the people around the Bo Nix to continue to win pretty much whoever's back there. Does Bo Nix have that edge about him? Yes, absolutely. But Oregon does have a very high-talented recruit behind him. There's nothing behind Michael Penix. There's nothing back behind him. And
he'll get it.
I mean, they will get it, but Michael Penix, what a guy.
Let me ask you this. Washington has Oregon State this coming weekend, and then they finish off with Washington State. Can Washington finish undefeated?
I know earlier, like 2 episodes ago, we talked about it. I was worried about the Washington State game. I looked at it yesterday. Washington State lost again. They're down to 4-6. They made it all the way up to 11th. I don't know if they had some injuries. Some players went out. But they fell off the map, so I'm not really worried about that game. But Oregon State dropped 65 points last night.
Yeah, they're good.
And I don't know where that game's at. I'll have to look ahead to that. But if that's at Oregon State with that offense and they can control tempo, they control the game, they keep Michael Penix off the field, that's going to be a very interesting game. Are you asking me, can Washington run the table and make it to the I mean, they're going to make it to the Pac-12 championship either way. Are you asking if they can go undefeated and face Oregon?
Undefeated and then face Oregon. That's what they're going to have to do. They're going to technically need to win out the rest of the season if they want to make Final Four.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So that's what I'm saying.
I'm going to say they can because of Michael Penix Jr. I do believe they can. They will definitely be undefeated going into that Oregon game. But that Oregon State game is going to give them a run for their money. And if they do lose the game, that'll be the game they lose.
I agree. I think Oregon State's a sleeper out there that nobody's really talking about. DJ is a very, very good quarterback. I'm not going to try to pronounce his last name. I know they say ukulele, but very, very good. So looking forward to talking about that one in the upcoming pod, definitely. So, good football on the way.
Yeah, good football coming.
Speaking of good football, this one probably made you pretty happy. Ole Miss and UGA. Man. What a game, right?
I mean, it started out
it's a beatdown.
Ole Miss went straight down the field and scored on a 12-play drive, 75 yards.
This is normal. This is typical Georgia. All season.
But, I mean, Ole Miss offense, I'll give them credit. They are they're very complex. They're very fast. They can score at any time. It was a real test for Georgia. Quinshon Judkins, for sophomore, was a freshman last year. He was a freshman.
What a name.
He was the freshman of the year last year in the SEC as a running back. That dude is the most, to me personally, the most thunder, electric, hard-nosed running back I've seen in the SEC since Derrick Henry or Nick Chubb, that era of kind of running backs. This dude is going to be an absolute force for Ole Miss. He was their energy. Jackson Dart played really good. I really hated to see him go out. It was an incidental hit. Georgia defender got pushed into him. They hit helmet to helmet on the side. Jackson Dart was unconscious in that third quarter. He was just sitting there unconscious. He came to, which I didn't know. I didn't realize this. Spencer Sanders is the backup quarterback, and people out there don't know it. Spencer Sanders was your Big 12 quarterback of the year last year for Oklahoma State. That's where Oklahoma State lost their huge passing game. This dude has a 68% completion percentage. He's threw for 9,000 yards in his career, 60 touchdowns, but he's also threw 40 interceptions. But he came in that offense. He's not got the mobility that Lane Kiffin likes at quarterback, so their offense kind of went stagnant. But I want to talk about Ole Miss in that game because they made a brick wall in Georgia's defense, and but they looked good. But it was just they got outcoached, and once Georgia found out how to read what was coming at them, because Lane Kiffin's big on using motion to distract the defense. Georgia was, when they would move into motion, Georgia would shift the defense one way or the other, and then Jackson was like, wait a minute, that's not how it was lined up before. But on the flip side of it, Carson Beck
went off.
People are going to have to start putting him in the Heisman conversation because, I mean, this dude went 18 for 25 for 306 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. The big thing, which I was so happy to see as a Georgia fan, I've been saying it all year, Kendall Milton. Yep, he went absolutely off. 9 carries, 127 yards, 2 touchdowns. It's the first time in Georgia history they've had 300 yards passing and 300 yards rushing in a game. It's the second time in Georgia history they've had over 600 yards of total offense.
You think, I mean, being undefeated, I mean, you think like they've done that multiple times.
I know.
That's impressive. That tells you how good their defense is.
I mean, that defense is – and the thing was the defense
Our defense is good.
Dumas Walker, he's out. He's a projected first-round draft pick next year at defensive lineman.
Brock Bowers played this game.
Brock Bowers was back. He actually scored a touchdown. He wasn't supposed. Here's the funny thing here. We got we got Mims back on offensive line. He had the same exact injury as Brock Bowers. It happened a week prior to Brock Bowers, 2 weeks prior to Brock Bowers, and he took 2 weeks longer to come back from the injury. Had the same surgery and everything as Brock Bowers, but Bowers played good. He had no issues with anything. Looked elite. The big guy for Georgia, though, it's been coming on each game, which is actually my favorite player on that entire offense is Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey is love that kid. He had 4 receptions for 81 yards and a touchdown. Again, Carson Beck got the ball around to everybody. I mean, they had 19 receptions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different players caught a pass. What a game by Georgia. I mean, all around 52-17 was the final complete game. Lane Kiffin was smiling and all happy before the game, and he barely talked to Kirby after the game. And apparently him and Kirby are pretty big friends. They actually have a texting thread that goes between the two of them and I think Steve Sarkisian at Texas.
I get it. Hey, man, it's competitive when you're out there and coaching against your friend. I mean, it'd be like me and you coaching against each other. Be competitive as crap. Yeah, you got to have them bragging rights. And right now, Georgia's still, again, the team to beat. I do not see Georgia losing a game this season. Even in the SEC championship, I think they're going to face Bama is what we're looking to line up to. I do not see Georgia losing a game. I just don't right now. They have Tennessee coming up this weekend, as we mentioned, and then they have Georgia Tech. So they should finish 12-0, 13-0 after SEC. I think Georgia does it again. I mean, they put together their best game this season. That's the best game they played.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing that we're all talking about. They're starting to get healthy. They're starting to get everybody back.
Yeah,
and
they look good.
The thing too, they started 3 freshmen at linebacker this game, and without having Dumas Walker on defensive line, having their captain, it was a little shaky at times. But the linebackers played good. The only thing I'm gonna put my Kirby Smart hat on right now, he was really upset. They had 5 penalties for 55 yards. That was the most penalties they've had since the SEC title game that they lost to Alabama. He was upset about the 5 penalties that they were.
Man, I wish I could be upset about 5 penalties.
I know, right? But that just shows what Kirby believes in. Kirby believes in discipline, and that's his foundation of coaching. The discipline is what makes Georgia good. Like if you're not being disciplined, you're not learning. If you're not being disciplined, you're not making the plays you need to make, and it's showing out. This is honestly, I think I mentioned it last podcast. This is probably Kirby's best coaching performance of his entire career this year. What he's done with this team. And they're deep.
I mean, look how much Carson Beck's improved over the course of the year.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's a Heisman candidate now, and he just played probably one of his best games. I mean, he played really good against Kentucky too, but this game, in my opinion, was probably better than Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, he looked good.
And they showed a stat during the game. Georgia's had 36 players get drafted in the first round over the last 3 years off of that defense.
That's insane.
The only other player they hadn't get drafted off the first round in defense was one of their DBs. He got drafted in the 3rd round, and now he's starting in the NFL for the Eagles. So go figure, he's on the Eagles.
Yeah.
It just shows next man up mentality. Kirby believes in that probably more than any other coach, even though he knows he knows he's getting the recruits coming in. But as Kirby said before, I'd rather take a 3-star that's going to bust his ass out there and play the game right and learn and be willing to learn than have a 5-star come in there and expect to be playing. Because they asked him a question about the transfer portal on Thursday, and they said, you all seem to struggle in the transfer portal. Why is that? And he said, if a player comes up to me, he goes, I don't care how good they are. He goes, I don't care if they won a Heisman last year, and they come up to me and they want to know when they're going to start playing, how much playing time they're going to get. I don't want them. I want the guy that says, I know that I have to come in here and earn my playing time. And that's who Kirby is. That's why this Georgia team is as good as it is. This is the first team that they've had where they don't have a defense that you could name a star on it. It's a team defense, and Kirby's just excelling at it right now. And he lost.
In case y'all didn't know, Hess is a Georgia fan. Could you tell?
I'm just happy about that win. I was actually kind of nervous going into that game.
I was nervous for y'all, honestly,
because Ole Miss kind of scared me.
I really thought Ole Miss, especially at the start of the game, I really thought Ole Miss would give you a run for your money.
I mean, if you go back to it, I mean, they was up 7-0. I think Georgia went back downfield and scored 7, make it 7-7.
Y'all scored 14 in the second quarter, I believe it was, right?
Yeah, we scored 14 first quarter, 13 in the second, 10 in the third, and 14.
I mean, that's your best start to any game this season. So yeah, Georgia again proves why they should be number one. I think we'll see them go back to number one in playoff rankings. Just absolute dominant win. Speaking of Georgia. Again, who they play this coming weekend?
The Vols in Knoxville, 3:30.
Give me the X factor. Give me just one X factor to this game. UGA, Tennessee don't matter. Just one X factor. What do you think we'll see from this game?
I want to do this differently. I want you to give me Georgia's X factor. I want to give you Tennessee's X factor.
Georgia's X factor.
Yep.
Okay, Carson Beck.
Carson Beck's the X
factor.
Simple. Nice, I like that. It's for me on Tennessee. It's going to have to be any one of your 3-star running backs. One of them's going to have to step up and carry the load because y'all cannot go into that game and not control that run game. Y'all go into that game.
Can I just do one X factor for the Tennessee game?
Sure.
Home advantage for Tennessee. They are 14-0
I agree with that.
At home.
And I'm going to go with, if you want to give me, I'll give you a Georgia one. It's Ladd McConkey.
Yeah.
Ladd McConkey.
Yeah, I agree. I really do think it could be a close game.
It could be, very well could be. I mean, y'all play good on at home
At
with
home,
Heupel.
not on the road.
It's going to be loud down there, y'all guys. It's 3:30 game. Thank God it's not 7, because if it was 7, it'd be a night game. It'd be more drunk Tennessee fans down there. It'd be even more hostile. So I am kind of glad it's a 3:30 game. It kind of takes a little bit of the edge away from it. But it's going to be rocking. It's going to be nice down there. I think I'll go out on a limb and say that this game will be closer than the Ole Miss game. I'll say it'll be a happy medium between.
Don't give your score prediction yet.
I'm not. I'm just saying it's gonna be a happy medium between what the Missouri Georgia game was and what the Ole Miss Georgia game was. Somewhere in between those two scores. But I'll give you a full solid.
I never pick against my balls. Just saying that. Even though I do think Georgia will be 12-0, I'm never picking against them. So we'll go over that a little bit later in the week.
But hey, that's a game that's coming up. We will be talking about that one. We'll go on about it, but that's going to be a week-long thing. Some other big games coming up in Week 12. God, Week 12 of college football. It is absolutely flying by. College game day is actually going to JMU. They're going to be in JMU for the Appalachian State game. Hopefully by the end, the NCAA rules that they're eligible and they can start playing for a bowl game here. Or maybe they get an at-large berth and maybe some chaos happens and the committee's like, you know what? Undefeated JMU, put them number 4, put them into playoff. I don't know. But hopefully JMU gets that right. But there are some big games this week. There's looking ahead, you got the Tennessee, obviously the Tennessee Georgia game. Utah,
Washington.
I was going to get to that one. You got the Utah Arizona game. Arizona's sneaking up on people. They're still ranked 21st.
Arizona's top 25. Yep.
They won on a game-winning field goal against Colorado. Alabama's got a big one against Chattanooga. Choo-choo, Chattanooga. You talked about Michigan. Michigan's got Maryland at Maryland. That's a road game. No Harbaugh. Could be interesting. Actually, that's all your top 25 games. That's your biggest top 25 games.
That's still some good games, though.
You got Oklahoma BYU, but Oklahoma lost again. No, well, they beat West Virginia. They just had that big fight.
Yeah, they beat West Virginia.
But, hey, if there's any D2 fans out there, Division II, their playoffs start. Championship first round, you have New Haven versus Charleston, West Virginia, the number 2 seed. Grand Valley State plays Ferris State. Cuxtown plays Virginia Union. Valdosta State plays Limestone. And Slip Rock plays Eastern Strouds. Oh, I got
what's some names?
Also, Lenore Ryan plays Shepherd. Delta State plays West Florida. Pitt State, not Penn State, Pittsburgh State plays Indy. UT Permarian Basin plays Bemidji State. I can't even say that one. BEMIDJI. They play
Bemidji.
Yeah.
Oh my
Western
God.
Colorado plays Central
I don't know
Washington.
Who comes up with these names?
Who goes to these colleges? You got Washington, Oregon State. You talked about that one. That's coming up.
Yeah.
Yep. That's down here at the bottom. I didn't see it's a late game, 7:30 game. And then the other big game, Florida, Missouri. I'll throw that one out there because Florida could. It's in Missouri though.
It's in Missouri, man.
Texas, Iowa State. That could be actually an interesting game. But I mean, next week's kind of a calm week. But hey, it's a good week for us with the Georgia Tennessee game. So we have something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
A lot of homecomings this week. But yeah, that's all we got, man, for college football. Is there something else you want to talk about? There's something else.
Let's wrap up college football. We could talk college football all night.
One more second on college football. Jimbo's firing. If I'm Texas A&M, who do you go get? You have all the money in the world. You can go get anybody except for the ones that you know is untouchable. Who do you go get?
Who do you go get? That is a great question. In the first place, you should never got rid of Kevin Sumlin, obviously.
Bring him back.
You wouldn't be – bring back Kevin Sumlin.
And Manziel.
I don't know. I mean, I think he'd go for a sleeper. I think he could try to reach out to Lincoln Riley, somebody like that maybe, and see if you could swing him over. I don't know if they want that style coach. Maybe you mentioned a big one there a minute ago, Dan Landing. I forgot he was from that area, or he's from the Southeastern Conference. Yep. He was at Georgia, so Texas A&M is one of those dream jobs.
The ones that they're
pay you well, and
I'm tell you who I think they
got all the resources. So
I'm tell you who I think they get.
Scott Frost,
Mike Elko. He was the defensive coordinator for A&M for 3 years under Jimbo. He went to Duke. He's turned Duke's program around. Bring him back to A&M. That would be a good one. There's also talks of Cliff Kingsbury.
Jeremy Pruitt?
No.
Oh.
Mike Norville. Do you get him from Florida State?
Oh. No.
Who else? Lane Kiffin.
I think you go out west.
You know who they'll get Frank Beamer.
They need to. Somebody needs to go get his son. My God.
I think they really just need to. Texas A&M really needs to take their time on this coaching hire and get the right guy in there. They don't need to worry about spending all the money. I don't care who it is you go get. I want to throw a wild card out there.
Let's hear it.
Bring this guy back to the SEC. Throw the money
Wes
out.
Jones.
No. Urban Meyer.
Oh, God. No. I cannot do Urban Meyer back in the SEC. No.
I don't know, man. But, yeah, that's all I got. We talked about that.
Stick to Big Ten TV, dude.
Hey, did you see – y'all know if you've seen it, you was on the road. They were during the Michigan-Penn State game. They did their highlights at halftime. They all kept trying to go to him. Like Matt Leinart, Mark Ingram was on there. They all kept going, what do you think, Urban? What do you think, Coach Meyer? He wouldn't talk to him. He was staring off into the distance at something and wouldn't say nothing. He was just sitting there like this. And, like, Matt Leinart, like, pushed him, and he wouldn't move. He was just, like, staring. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. But, anyway, that's all I kind of got for college football. I kind of want to see where your headspace was at with that one. We'll probably
out west. I think they go out west.
I like the Mike Elko hire, so they bring him out of Duke. I mean, I'd hate to see him leave Duke because of what he's done, but I think that would be a good hire for them. They may pull something out of their hat, though. Who knows? They may pull something crazy.
Lane Kiffin might leave Ole Miss, too. Texas A&M, he'll actually have what he needs. Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
It's a good possibility.
That game will be fire next year if they played each other. But that's all I got so far for the college football. We talked about our X Factors. We'll talk more about UGA, Tennessee as the week goes on. Let's move on into the other pigskin. Let's move on to the NFL. What a
the big boys.
It was actually a decent day in the NFL. I didn't get to watch much. I was pretty busy, but it's actually a decent day. Let's talk about the big game, the one we were actually really excited about.
There's actually two today that were actually really good games.
Yes.
But yeah, let's start off with the Browns and Ravens. This game was kind of put away. It felt like the Ravens were running away with this one pretty early. Ravens are a solid team. We've talked about them all year. They're actually one of the best teams in the NFL, in my opinion. But they did end up losing this game. Deshaun Watson led the team down for the Browns to kick a field goal. It was a great drive. The Browns came back on this one and won 33-31.
Yeah.
Great comeback in the fourth. I think they put up 16 points in the fourth. I think the Ravens scored 6 or 3. I can't remember. But, yeah, again, the Ravens dominated this game until the fourth. It fell apart. That defense just fell apart.
I know.
Lamar, again, was solid. He had a good game. And Deshaun Watson, again, had a good game. So, hats off to the Browns.
Hey, Browns defense is really good. I mean, this game, they gave up a lot of points, but they kept them in a game. Jerome Ford led them in rushing. He led everybody in rushing and had 17 carries for 107 yards. He's really doing well in Nick Chubb's absence. Deshaun Watson, he was 20 for 34. He had 213 yards, 1 touchdown. I don't know. There's something off about him. He don't look like Deshaun Watson when he was at Houston. Lamar.
He's fine. They're winning.
He is. Defense wins championships. It's carrying him right now. I think they had Nick Chubb. This team will be a whole lot more dangerous.
Correct.
Amari Cooper had a very good game. He had 6 receptions for 98 yards. Todd Monken has absolutely changed this Ravens offense around. Like, it's not Lamar's show really as much. I mean, Lamar's the centerpiece, but he's actually getting some other people involved. And if you don't know, he was the former offensive coordinator at Georgia last year. That's why we ended up with Mike Bobo this year. The Browns, though, man, they got the Steelers coming up next week. I think that's who they
next year. Yeah,
next week, and that game, that game's actually going.
It's gonna be a game.
It's gonna be huge, and that game will be in Cleveland, I believe.
Correct.
So that'll be kind of the revenge game for y'all killing Nick Chubb. That puts
it's gonna be a good game.
If the Browns keep winning, man, they're gonna be a threat.
They're tied second right now.
Yep.
With us or the Steelers. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
in case y'all didn't know, I'm a Steelers fan, but yeah, they're tied second right now, right behind the Ravens, 1 game behind.
Yep. But we'll move on to the next game, a game that I thought was going to be a whole lot better, but turned into an absolute blowout. The 49ers versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, it's a blowout. I would not expect this one. 34-3 ended up being the final. T-Law had a terrible game, 17 for 29, 185 yards and 2 picks, no touchdowns. Probably one of his worst performances being in Jacksonville. Brock Purdy came back. He's pretty good.
Yeah, when he stopped talking crap about him.
Yeah, I guess so. 19 for 26, 296 yards and 3 touchdowns. Folks, if you need to chill out and quit throwing interceptions, if you're playing football, apparently you just need to get out on the farm with your tractor and just plow some hay or whatever he's plowing that day. I don't know, but it must have calmed him down and he's back in. So yeah, almost 300 yards passing, only incompletion of 7 passes. Pretty good day for Brock Purdy and the 49ers. Looks like they're turning back around again. They're 6-3 now.
Yep, 6-3, and they absolutely tore it up today.
Fine.
Yeah, at defense.
Yeah, they're good.
And Chase Young at defense looks good. Nick Bosak, they're dominant.
They're back in my opinion. They're back in Super Bowl favorites.
They're not my favorite in the NFC anymore, though. There's another team in the NFC that I think's on their way to a Super Bowl this year. But let's move on to probably the sloppiest game, the most just horrendous game. Like this game, I don't understand how the Steelers keep doing it. They got outgained again on every statistical category and still came out with a 23-19 win over the Green Bay Packers. Sorry, Jason Fields, about your Packers. I was reading a lot of tweets after this game because I didn't get to watch it. I was trying to figure out what happened. Apparently, Steelers fans are getting upset with Pickett. They're getting tired of his lackluster performances, I guess.
Just kind of in the middle.
He's missing some wide open receivers. There have been some people wide open. Like it's like he's watching one receiver the whole time. Again, I didn't watch this game, but statistically, he was very fair, I will say. How y'all won this game with these stats? He was 14 for 23 for 126 yards, no touchdowns. Jaylen Warren was your leading rusher with 15 carries for 100.
They ran the ball very well. Najee Harris.
Yeah, Najee Harris had 82 yards, a touchdown. Jordan Love, though, was 21 for 40 for 289, 2 touchdowns, but 2 interceptions. Your all's defense, again, carried you to victory. T.J. Watt's an absolute monster. Again, defense wins championships. It's funny. You all are yellow and black. You all are very similar to the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Black and yellow.
It's the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Quiet. They're kind of quiet. They're 6-3. Nobody's really talking about it, but that defense is legit. Again, like I just mentioned, they're one game behind the Ravens. They're tied with the Browns. We face the Browns this week. Should be a heck of a matchup. The Steelers still got to figure it out on offense. If they can figure out that offense, that team could be deadly. But I just don't see them figuring out that offense this year. Pickett to Pickens isn't really working out like I thought it would either. I don't know. Steelers need some changes on offense. I still think it comes down to the offensive line. The offensive line did look better today. They did run the ball. It was their best rushing game this year. We'll see what happens with Pickett at quarterback. You can't – I don't know who they're going to go after is the thing. So, I mean, Trubisky's definitely not the backup guy. They honestly need to go after a quarterback.
You know what's sad? Here? I read a thing right before –
CJ Stroud.
I read a thing before I got on here. You all – declined the contract extension for Josh Dobbs to bring back Mason Rudolph.
Yeah, it was terrible. I remember when all that happened.
So, and now looking at...
And I said it'd be terrible.
And looking what Josh Dobbs
is doing now. They sent him to Florida, right? Got sent to...
Josh Dobbs?
Jacksonville?
Josh Dobbs?
Yeah.
No, he went to the Browns.
Right after that?
Mm-hmm.
He's on the Titans, too, for a little while.
He was on Titans. He was on the Browns, then he went to the Titans, and he went back to the Browns.
I thought he went south, too. No?
Mm-mm. Then went to Arizona.
Yeah. He went to Arizona, then he's back north.
Now he's in Minnesota, and it sounds like he's found his place.
I can't keep up with the guy. Yeah, he's 2-0.
Pasternaut, man.
He's good. They should have kept Josh Dobbs. He was fine in Steelers. He looked good.
Yeah, you had Josh Dobbs with this defense right now. You all be a bigger threat than what you are showing right now. But
oh yeah,
let's go from very mediocrity and 2 quarterbacks in the Packers and Steelers game. Let's talk about 2 elite quarterbacks and a rookie that is absolutely tearing up the league right now and surprising a lot of people, including myself. The Houston Texans versus the Cincinnati Bengals. The Texans won this game 30-27 in Cincinnati. Burrow didn't play bad. He did have 2 interceptions. He did throw for 347 yards. But C.J. Stroud said, here, hold this football. I'm going to throw for 356 yards, 1 touchdown, and I'm also going to rush for 8 yards and get me a rushing touchdown. Wow.
Yeah. Texans 5-4. Nobody projected that this year. Nobody projected C.J. Stroud to do what he's doing. He's having an incredible rookie year. Texans are only second in their division behind the Jags. And if the Jags play like they did this past weekend, watch out. Texans could run the table in that division, which is crazy to think about. But that just shows what type of player Stroud is. I mean, I didn't think he'd come out of college the way he's playing. Nobody did, like I said. But he's really putting the team on his back. And I think I picked the Texans, I'm pretty sure, in my picks this week over the Bengals. But that was a bold call for me, too, because the Bengals have been hot. Burrow's turned it around. They start off rough start this year. I think they start off 0-3,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So, yeah, they've definitely turned their season around. Bengals are no slouch.
They actually had no run game today. That's what killed them. Joe Mixon only had 46 yards. I want to shout out a player that I honestly have no idea much about him, but I think this was definitely a career day for him. Noah Brown for the Texans. He had 7 receptions for 172 yards. He was C.J. Stroud's number 1 receiver. Devin Singletary had the career game. He had 30 carries, 150 yards. This Texans offense under D'Amico Ryans, who was probably the best hire this past season, is absolutely just torching the earth right now. And C.J. Stroud, the only thing that happened to him today, he had that interception, but he also lost 2 fumbles. But you really can't blame him for that. I mean, he
still won the game.
Another comeback. I think that's his 4th comeback victory in the 4th quarter. This dude's playing like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady out there. This guy is
first year.
Yeah, rookie of the year, hands down right now.
Peyton Manning didn't play like that his first year.
Nope,
for sure.
Peyton Manning led the league in interceptions. So
correct. Till T-Law.
Yeah, till T-Law. But let's move on, though, to the game that I thought was actually going to be a lot better, but the Buccaneers versus the Titans. Buccaneers won this game 20-6. Baker Mayfield actually had a pretty decent game. He went 18 for 29 for 278 for 2 touchdowns and 1 interception. Will Levis, again, probably his worst game, but he didn't do much.
Yeah.
But they had nothing around him. The Buccaneers, they shut down Derrick Henry. He had 11 carries for 24 yards. Again, Will Levis was 19 for 39 for 199 yards. He had 1 pick, but I think that was at the end of the game when he tried to force something downfield.
Correct.
The Titans are just missing a bunch of – they don't have much outside of Derrick Henry. They don't have much in their receiving core.
Defense.
Their defense is pretty abysmal. They're 0-5 on the road this year. They dropped to 3-6. The Buccaneers moved to 4-5 and 2-3 at home.
How you feeling on the Titans? I mean, is it time to start selling?
I think, you're past the trade deadline, so you're stuck with what they got right now. But I do think
for next year.
I think in the offseason you try to move on from Derrick Henry. You try to get him. But
I agree.
He is a running back. And honestly, Derrick Henry hasn't been that great this year. He's had some good games, some bad games. Running back shelf, the shelf life of the running back is not that high. I would hate to see him part ways with him and Derrick Henry not end up somewhere. I think he would. But what do they get for him? You don't want to cut him loose, but you also don't want to trade him and get nothing for him. So it's kind of like Titans are in a bad situation right now. And another thing that they got them in a weird situation. I was reading. We also put it on our Facebook. There's lots of rumors circulating that the Patriots and the ownership group are going to move on from Bill Belichick at the end of the year. They're going to mutually part ways. And the number 1 candidate for that job is former Super Bowl champion with the Patriots, multiple Super Bowl champions, Mike Vrabel. They want him to come in and be the successor for Bill Belichick. So that would be the Titans losing their head coach, who's actually done very well with the Titans. Change of scenery might do them all good. Maybe that's where they need to go. Maybe they need to kind of get some free agents in there, build around, and bring a new coach in. We'll see. Titans are just in a bad place right now. I hate to see it, and I hate it for Ryan Tannehill. I'm a big fan of Ryan Tannehill, but maybe he needs to do what he did at A&M and go play some wide receiver for a little while and see what happens there. Maybe he can help him out, play to tight end. But other than that, right now you got the Jets and the Raiders. The Jets are winning this game 6-3 right now. Sounds like another terrible game. The Raiders are absolutely terrible. Zach Wilson forgot how to play quarterback.
He never found it.
Yeah, don't even worry about turning this game on tonight, guys. Enjoy some family time or don't watch the highlights. Y'all are not watching it. This will be in the morning when y'all hear this, so don't even worry about it. Don't even look at the score or the updates on it. Other than that, you got any more news on the NFL, Big Dog?
Just Monday night prediction.
Monday night.
We got the Broncos and Bills tomorrow night. Of course, if you're listening, it'll be today. I'm taking the Bills in this one. I know you're obviously taking the Broncos. I do think it'll be a close game. This one is at Buffalo, so that's where I think the advantage comes in. I think the Bills are tough if they can just complete a game. But I think the score prediction, I think it's going to be closer than people think. I think 31-20 is a good projection on this one. I think Josh Allen has a great game. Russell Wilson has another complete game. But again, I think the Bills are just a little bit better overall. So we'll see that Bills offense maybe click a little bit better. Like I said, put up 30-plus points on the Broncos D.
I Actually, I think this game's going to be very low scoring. I think you're going to see a Broncos victory. I think it's going to be a 21-17 victory for the Broncos.
Ooh.
I think this is going to be a statement win for Sean Payton outside of the Kansas City game. I think Russell Wilson continues to do what he's doing. I think he continues to cook it up. The Bills have been so inconsistent. Granted, they've been pretty good at home this year. They're 4-1 at home. The Broncos are 1-2 on the road. Broncos win this game, they move to 4-5, which would be huge because outside of the Chiefs, there's nobody else, and they'd be tied with the Chargers for second in the division.
That's crazy.
The Buffalo's only a 7-point favorite in this game, and over/under is 47.5. I don't see it being that high scoring. The weather's not going to be a factor. Both these teams are used to playing in cold temperatures. It's going to be 43 degrees and cloudy. I do think it's a very good game. I think this will be the best game of the week. I think this will be a very great Monday Night Football game, and I do think the Broncos prevail 21-17.
Ooh, bold take.
Yeah.
Love it.
Love Josh Allen, though.
Yeah, gotta love Josh.
All right, man. Let's move on to the round ball, the one that we dribble up and down the court.
Yes, ping pong.
Ping pong, yeah, ping pong. Now let's move on to some college. Wow, sorry. NBA basketball.
NBA. Grizzlies and Clippers. Grizzlies now won 2 games. Yeah, they won 1-5 and 101 today. Clippers are struggling. Like I said, they would with Harden. He's a complete drama. He had 11 points. Yeah, 11 points today. They're 3-6. I think they dropped to 13th in the West or 12. Sorry, 12th. Yeah, 12th. Yeah, absolutely horrid.
Yeah, 0-4 since Harden got there. And I'm not going to sit here and say it's all Harden. I think it's going to take him time to get adjusted to come over there. I don't think the dude was in the best shape either because he didn't care much in the offseason. He was too worried about getting out of Philadelphia. So I'm not going to put all of it on Harden. But if he continues to play this way, I look at it being a bad move for the Clippers. But the Harden move for them was more of a high risk, high reward type thing. It's going to go either way.
Absolutely.
But again, the Grizzlies are starting to put it together. It's pretty sad though that they're this bad, and John Morant had to be a fool and be stupid and immature and
Grizzlies should be top like they were last year. I mean, they should
absolutely.
be
It's sad that they're out. They're playing. Their best player is out for the stupidity that he done in the offseason with the gun and all that stuff. But anyway, Grizzlies starting to say, hey, maybe we don't need him. So they're playing pretty good. The Mavericks and the Pelicans, though.
That one should be ongoing.
That one is ongoing right now. And again, you guys will know the final before you listen while you're listening to this. But the Mavericks are up 120-94 early fourth quarter. Mavericks, they got a solid team. They got a solid team. The Pelicans, they just got a bunch of young talent. I don't really a big fan of their coach. They can't really put it together. I could see them being big time traders at the deadline. Like I could see Zion being moved. Other than that, outside of that, we got the Timberwolves and the Warriors. That game actually tipped off at 8:30. The Warriors have been playing good, but Draymond Green being Draymond Green.
Yeah, give me the Timberwolves. Timberwolves are 6-2 this year. Anthony Edwards is absolutely stud.
Hey,
I think last year they made the playoffs. I think they were eighth seed.
Where did Anthony Edwards go to college?
I don't know.
University of Georgia.
I know. I just didn't want to say it.
I know. Hey, I gotta get him in while I got him.
God.
I gotta get him while I got him.
That's like your only player that y'all ever had.
Whoa, Kadarius Caldwell Pope.
Oh my God. How's he doing?
He's great. He's a great player.
Yeah, he's okay.
Okay.
He's okay.
Anyway, good guy for bench.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Edwards is your best player. Okay, let's just be honest.
Ant is good. Ant is very good.
Very good. Scary good. Yeah. But I think Timberwolves are a sleeper in the West. Nobody's really talking about. They're 6-2 right now. I think they're tied for second, maybe in the division. I like the Timberwolves. They're fun to watch.
They are fun to watch. I like Karl-Anthony Towns. I think he's a really good player too. They got Rudy Gobert in the offseason. Rudy Gobert's a really big player. They got Michael Conley. I mean, they got a very good defensive team.
Stout.
Yes. Yep. And like you said, they could be they're 6-2 on the.
They could be a sleeper.
Yeah, they're 6-2 on the year right now. I mean,
they made the playoffs last year.
Yeah, so really a close game right now. I don't know if it was on our thing, but I just want to throw it out there. You got the Spurs and the Heat are in a tight one right now. It's 103-101, late fourth quarter. This game looks like Wemby's playing really good in this game. He has 29 minutes played. He has 18 points, 11 rebounds. He's got a double-double, and so does Kay Johnson for them. So, yeah. That game's going pretty good. Who else you got here? We got the Trailblazers and Lakers, 10 o'clock game. Who do I think is going to win without even looking at it? I'm going to go ahead and say the Lakers win this game for the simple fact that they got a little bit better team.
Yeah, Lakers currently 8th in the West. They're 4-5. Fun fact, LeBron leads the team right now still on points per game at 25.2 points per game. I'm going to throw a name out there for you, see if you can remember where he played. Jeremy Grant.
Jeremy Grant. Okay.
Remember where he played?
He has a brother. Hold on. I don't want to get him mixed up. Jeremy Grant. I don't know. Go ahead and throw it out there at me. Let me say,
played at Oklahoma City with Carmelo and them. It was like he was like a rookie that year. He's leading right now in Portland and averaging on team 22.8 a game.
He was a big acquisition for him last year when they got him. I remember that.
He was.
He is He's not a bad player at all.
Not at all, man. Not at all.
Yeah, he started out at Philadelphia.
Right, but he's at Oklahoma City there.
He played for Philadelphia for 1, 2, 3 seasons. Then he went to Oklahoma City for 1, 2, 3 seasons. Played for Denver for 1 season. Played for Detroit for 2. And now he's been in Portland for a year and a half.
Yeah. I'm with you, though. I think the Lakers win this one. Anthony Davis and LeBron, they'll figure it out. Yeah. They'll be back in the playoffs.
Man,
it'll be a good team.
I've been one of them guys that was like wanted to say, hey, LeBron, shut up. You know, whatever.
He's good.
But, hey, he's good. He does his thing. Keeps doing it. But anyway, let's move on, though, to the NBA. We was in the NBA. Let's move on to the MLB. Let's talk about a little bit of free agency. What do you think's going on with your guy, Yoshi?
Yeah, Yoshi Yamababu.
His name is Yoshi Yamamoto.
Yamamoto. Yeah. Mets are eyeing him right now, too, and the Yankees. So he's going somewhere in New York, bottom line. He's going to the Big Apple somewhere. So Mets are out on Ohtani. I saw that today. I read that. They're not pursuing Ohtani, which I know they were pursuing him during season this past year, but they're out. So that tells them that they're probably going after him too. So I think what it comes down to for him is who's going to pay him the most, and that can go. We all know how that can go. So I still look for the Yankees to get him. I think he's still hot on the Yankees. He'd be a good fit, like we talked about.
I think before. It's going to the Yankees. I think it's sold.
Yeah, and I think it's a sold too or sale. So that's how I feel.
All right, Juan Soto. A lot of it talks about him. I seen a couple days ago. They reported it's a 100% chance he does get traded this offseason. I think he goes to one or two teams. I think he goes to the Yankees or the Phillies.
Oh, wow, that's a bold take. He did lead the NL with 132 walks last season, had a batting average of 275, and he had 35 home runs, so all-star caliber player. I think the Mariners can be a true contender.
I can see that. I can see that.
Yeah, I think the Mariners, they're about one player off, really.
You just got to but you'd have to move A-Rod. You'd have to move him to another position because him and Soto both play left field. But, hey, I could see that happen. Soto can play right field.
He could.
You mentioned Ohtani. People have been listening to Tyler Stockman Sports, and as of today, the Cubs are now second behind the Dodgers with the best odds to land Shohei Ohtani. So
that's exactly the two teams we said.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I think the Cubs are big players in this, and just I could see Ohtani and Cubs attire and that whole thing. I think that's where he ends up. But I did notice I was seeing this week too, Luis Severino. A lot of teams are interested in him. He's not as high as a high-profile pitcher right now, but I could see that would be a good grab for a team. I think a change of scenery out of New York would help him.
Yes, absolutely. I saw where the Tigers, Brewers, and the White Sox are your top three.
That'd be great for him. Not some teams that are expecting.
He'd be good. He'd be very good on the Brewers. Yeah. That would be a good pickup for him.
I did see. Speaking of the Brewers, they're going all in on trying to get Pete Alonso this offseason.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
they off the Mets. Well, if the Mets get that, they're going to free up some cap for sure. So that could be.
And while we're talking about first basemen too, Rhys Hoskins, he decided he is going to be a free agent. The Cubs, the Cubs want him. Seen that today. Yankees, he's okay. Yankees trading Gleyber Torres.
Gleyber. They're not necessarily trading, but that's it's been ongoing throughout the year. They've always been open to trades. The way I look at it, Gleyber was one of their best hitters. He had a 273 batting average this past season. The rumor is he might go to the Red Sox, which is crazy to think about. But we do have Oswaldo Peraza, who is 23 years old and good, very good. So
Oswaldo Cabrera.
I think if we can free up some cap space and Glaber's good, but honestly, at the end of the day, he's average.
If you trade Torres, you go out and get pitching. I go get some for relief. I get elite
they'll free up the space.
Yeah, I get bullpen pitching out of return for that if you trade him. This guy, you brought this up in here. This will be I could see this guy being a Yankee. I have said this since he came from Florida to when he got drafted to the Indians out of Florida. This dude is a New York Yankee, Jonathan India. If the Reds, and I could see the Reds doing it. I mean, Joey Votto, he ain't coming back. They didn't accept his option, which I hate to see. Him not going to be able to end his career in Cincinnati. But Jonathan India, if they move on from him, which I could see him doing it, that would be very interesting to see where he goes because he's a game changer at second base.
Yeah, I mean the Reds are young, so they're looking for what they can do for pitching. So I was reading a little bit on that. Probably Mariners are hot, White Sox and Dodgers.
I was going to say Dodgers don't have a second base because see the White Sox are moving on from Tim Anderson. That's another guy I could see becoming Yankee at some point, so that'd be interesting. And before we get off of baseball, I read an article because following the Braves. There was a guy saying that the Braves need to maybe throw out the name, not say they trade him, but throw out the name of Ozzie Albies and see what they can get for him. I would be absolutely heartbroken if we got rid of Ozzie, but that would be interesting to see what the Braves got for him.
Another quick take before we jump off baseball. Yanks asked David Ross today if he'd be interested in being Boone's right-hand man.
Dude, that would be that would be really...
Turned it down immediately, which I don't blame him.
I don't blame him because I think David Ross...
He can't be a right-hand man. He's a head coach.
But if y'all could pull that off and get him there...
That'd be nice.
If you fire Boone midseason and be able to hand it off to David Ross, we've seen it with the Phillies. They fired a coach midseason and then bam, went to the World Series.
I bet that's what they were thinking.
Yeah, that if I'm Boone, I'm worried.
Sweating bullets. Yeah.
But baseball's still going. I love it. I love everything about it. It's news every day about baseball. Yeah. But one thing before we get off baseball, I know we got to kind of wrap this thing up. Pitch clock. How'd you feel about it this year?
Loved it.
I loved it too.
Thought I'd hate it.
I did too.
But it really sped up the game. You don't have to sit there for 5 hours. Most games, I think the average time was under 3 hours, which was really nice. I really enjoyed it.
I did too. I agree with you. I thought it was great. Even the playoffs, it made the playoffs.
Most viewership in baseball in like 20 years.
Which was crazy. This was the worst viewed World Series in baseball over the last 15 years.
Wow. But most viewed season.
Yeah.
Wow.
The season was more viewed, but the playoffs keep declining. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, let's take a hard left turn here and get away from the sports. We talked about it last week. I want to give a recap. I don't think you've got a big chance to play it much. The Call of Duty dropped this Friday. I only got to play about 4 or 5 games of it. I told you earlier my biggest flaw with it is I feel like I just paid $60 for a DLC or $70 for a DLC. Yep. I didn't buy a new game because it's literally the same game. It just like everything from the other game. All the weapons I unlocked, all the attachments, all the maxed out weapons, I brought them over.
All there.
But they got a thing called recommendation for the new guns. They want you to use the new guns.
The new ones. Yeah.
But the maps are nice. The movement's nice. The speed is nice. I had some really good games. I'm not the best Call of Duty player. I'm very run and gun, kind of aggressive. And I was looking like a pro out there at times. All the games were fun. I played all the things but Search and Destroy. I didn't get a chance to play that. All the game modes are really fun. The maps are great. I think it'll be fun, but I'm kind of hesitant about it. There's some things on it that I didn't really like about it. I don't like the whole feeling like just a patch. It makes me because I was out there playing and they were new. They were guys.
You paid $70 for a new game. If you wanted a patch, you should be $20 in.
And they were
DLC.
There was guys out there that had like a gun from last season that I didn't get to unlock because I quit playing Call of Duty. I didn't keep playing it. And he was mowing everybody down because he unlocked it.
Had all attachments and everything.
So that kind of blowed.
I get that. I mean, I'm happy they brought back the old maps.
The old maps are great.
Huge Modern Warfare 2 fan, but I mean, all they did was just revamp them and bring clearer quality to all the images and everything as you're running through. So in a way, it kind of stinks because I already know the maps. I mean, I know those maps.
I'll tell you this. Those maps, we know them all by back of our head. The movement and the whole thing about climbing and jumping on things, it changes the whole.
And they opened up a little bit different stuff too in them. I'm not going to say it's the exact same, but hopefully they do bring some other maps as well into these, which I'm sure they will. They always drop new maps and stuff like that. But so far what little bit I've played, I do like it better than the previous Call of Duty. But that's early. We know they're going to have bugs, and they're going to have fixes, and they're going to patch guns that you fall in love with because they absolutely are OP.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I want to play the zombie mode.
Let me play a little bit more this week, and then we'll talk about this on the next podcast.
I want to play the zombie mode. I think that's going to be their big hit on this one because they've really put a lot into the zombies. I think that'll be really fun with a bunch of people like me, you, and some other people, Caleb, and people play. Yeah. I think that'll be where they really take off with the season. But hey, we'll see. I'm excited about it. It was fun. It was smooth. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Let's move on to final thoughts. What do you got? You got any final thoughts you want to throw out there?
Nothing really. Just like I said, hope everybody has a happy Monday, happy work week, rather. It's hard to believe, but we're already going into the third week of November, which is
third Saturday in November.
Yep.
Yeah, right. That
so coming up, looking forward to the UGA Tennessee game. Again, guys, if you're not following us on any of our social media, make sure you're following us on there. Again, reach out, comments, thank yous, anything. Like that, share a post. Like I said, we're up over 40,000 people, which is insane for two country boys in Southwest Virginia.
Yeah.
We did not expect that at all. Again, it just means a lot to us. Anytime you reach out and tell us you're listening, if you run into us in public and you're like, hey, guys, I really enjoy the podcast, or hey, guys, I hate it, we take it. We take it off the chin either way, and we really appreciate it. And we do enjoy doing this, obviously, or we wouldn't continue. But again, hope y'all are liking our content, and if you have any suggestions or anything, send them our way.
Yep, I like that, man. My final thoughts, I missed this. I want to talk about this in college football. Texas Longhorns lost Jonathan Brooks yesterday, their leading rusher, the second leading rusher in NCAA. He tore his ACL. He's out for the season. Hate to see that. It's really going to hurt Texas down the stretch. Next man up mentality there, but Jonathan Brooks was part of their X factor, even though they brought Quinn Ewers back. So it's really going to hurt Texas. It's going to hurt their chances maybe to win out the rest of the year. But again, guys, to reiterate what Castle said, thank you guys for everything. Thank you all for all the support, all the love, all the likes. Keep sharing it. Keep getting our name out there. Talk about us, good or bad. I don't care. I love people coming up to me when I'm out and about and say, hey, how's the podcast going? When do you record? How's it going? So I love it. Keep it up, guys. We love doing it. It's going to be a fun week. Go Dogs. That's all I got.
Go Balls!
All right, man. Y'all have a good one. Again, have a great work week. We'll be back. Y'all this episode will drop 6 a.m. on Monday. Y'all enjoy it. Next episode will be out Thursday at 6 a.m. Hope y'all have a great work week. Hess is out. See y'all.
Castle's out. Thanks, guys.